I am now faced with the supremely difficult task of figuring out how to do a calculator tutorial on my computer, and I think the best I can do is going to be super awkward. So, apologies. Our goal is to get this augmented matrix into this calculator, and I think this is going to end up involving me like typing like this so I can see it, and then just holding it up for you to see all the time. So, grab yourself a calculator. You will need it in order for this to make any sense. The way that this works all hinges on the matrix menu, which you can see is right here above the x to the -1 function. So, to get into that menu, you'll click second and then matrix, and then you're left in this place where your options are matrix names, math, and edit. To put in a new matrix, you're going to go to the Edit tab. So, going over 2 times, now that I'm in the Edit tab, I can edit any one of these matrices. I'm going to choose to edit matrix A, that first one. The first thing it lets me do is mess with the dimensions of this matrix. So, my matrix is 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So I'm going to say this matrix should be 3 by 4. And when I do that, it then pops me down to the menu, and you can see that it's like got lots of spaces for lots of numbers. It also, down here, it wants my notation like one thing at a time. So 1 by 1 means like the first row, the first column. The first row, the first column of this matrix is in fact 3, so I'm going to type 3 and then hit enter, and then it moves to the next column and wants me to do the first row, the second column, 1, 2. So the next item is a 1, and the next item is a -2, and the next item is a -7, and the next item is a 2, and a 2, and a 1, and a 9, and a -1, and a -1, and a 3, and a 6. All right. And then, to get out of this menu, I do the same thing I usually do, which is just second quit. And that puts me back to my main screen. Nothing is happening here. Great, that's fine. So I'm going to go back into the matrix menu using second matrix one more time. Pops me right over here. This time, however, you can see that like the dimensions for matrix A have changed to 3 by 4. So if I click enter, it'll pop this matrix out on my menu. It says matrix A. Like that's just the short form for it. It doesn't show any of the data, but if you hit enter, it'll pop out the data, and you can make sure that the data actually like matches. So 3, 1, -2, -7, 2, 2, 1, 9, -1, -1, 3, and 6. That matches this perfectly. So the matrix is in. You'll notice that it doesn't have the line to show that it's an augmented matrix, and that's actually fine. Your calculator, to my knowledge, can't represent that, and even if it can, it like doesn't need to be able to perform everything in the same way that you would. This is where it gets wacky. Your matrix has a method of performing all the operations on this that you would need to then solve everything without any input from you. It is the closest thing to magic that this device can perform. So, if you go into this calculator and go to the matrix menu and go to that middle tab, the one about math, there are a million things you can do. The first one, DET, is actually like what will get you the determinant that we did over on the board a moment ago. That's fun, that's fine. But then if you go down much further to option, it's B on my calculator, there's an option for RREF. That stands for Reduced Row Echelon Form, I think. You can look that up if you would like to check. And then, if you pop that out, it gives you the option on the main menu, and it like, RREF of what? What do you want the reduced row echelon form of? Well, I want it of A, so I'm going to go back into the matrix menu again, and I'm going to pick A, and then it comes out like this, reduced row echelon format of A. I'm going to say yes, that is what I want, and then something magical is going to happen. It comes out with this very, very clean looking, like, it's got a diagonal line of 1s in the middle of a field of 0s, and then the far right column has a -2, a 5, and a 3. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on paper, And then we'll pick this back up at the board to kind of see what happens once you've actually used the calculator to find reduced row echelon format.